The world had always been at war. Even when there was peace, there were tensions, threats, and weapons being built in secret. But everything changed on a day no one would forget. Daniel Holt was not a soldier or a politician. He was an engineer, from Ohio, quiet and thoughtful, with a passion for solving problems others thought impossible. For years he worked in a government lab, hidden away from the public eye. His team built something called the Shield. It was a network of satellites that could stop any missile, bomb, or fighter jet before it could do harm. On a cloudy morning in late October, President Elliott stood behind a podium and made an announcement that stunned the world. No nation could attack another without immediate defense. The Shield was active and it covered the entire planet. War, as humanity had known it, was over. People cheered. Leaders shook hands. Children played, without fear of sirens or explosions. Newspapers ran bold headlines. War is gone. A new era begins. No more death from the sky. But Daniel didn't feel like celebrating. He watched the news from his small apartment, feeling uneasy. He knew how the Shield worked, better than anyone. It was fast, smart, and nearly perfect, but not completely. There were gaps, blind spots, things no one had tested yet. In Washington, Lisa Morrow read every report she could find on the Shield. She used to fly fighter jets in the Air Force, but now she worked in defense policy. She saw what others missed. If countries couldn't fight with bombs or missiles anymore, they would find other ways to hurt each other. Cyber attacks, propaganda, economic warfare, those weren't stopped by the Shield. Meanwhile, in cities across America, people began to relax. Schools taught students that war was history. Parents told their kids they would never have to hide in bunkers. Military bases closed down. Weapons programs were canceled. But in dark corners of the internet, whispers began. Some said the Shield was too much power in the hands of one country. Others believed it could be hacked, and a few very dangerous minds started thinking about how to strike without ever launching a single missile. Daniel sat alone at night, staring at his laptop screen. He had received an anonymous message earlier that day. It only said, "You think you ended war. You only changed how it's fought." He didn't know who sent it, but deep down, he feared they might be right. In the months after the Shield went live, the world seemed safer than ever. No missiles flew, no bombs dropped, and no fighter jets screamed across borders. But something else had begun to rise, a new kind of war. Without the threat of bombs or bullets, countries turned to other weapons. Hackers broke into government systems. False stories spread like fire online. Leaders used lies and fear to control people's minds. This was not war in the old way, but it was war all the same. Lisa Morrow saw it happening before most others did. She worked late every night, reading reports, watching news from around the world, and talking to experts. She warned her bosses that peace built on machines could not last. If people can't fight with guns, she said, they'll fight with words, money, and secrets. But no one wanted to hear bad news. The president smiled for cameras. The public felt safe. The military downsized. Lisa's warnings were buried under piles of paperwork. Meanwhile, Daniel Holt tried to return to normal life. He didn't want fame or power. He just wanted to know if the Shield was working as it should. He read everything he could find about strange events, computer systems crashing, leaders suddenly changing their minds, riots breaking out without clear reason. One night, he got another message. This time, it came through a hidden channel only someone with his level of access would recognize. The message said, "The war has already started. You just don't see it yet." Daniel felt a chill run down his spine. He began digging deeper. He found signs of attacks, not on cities but on minds. Powerful AI programs were being used to shape what people thought. Fake videos showed leaders saying things they never did. Real news was drowned out by noise. He called Lisa. They hadn't spoken since the Shield launched, but now they both knew something was wrong. "We stopped the old wars," Daniel said. "But we opened the door to new ones," Lisa agreed. She told him about secret meetings where top officials argued over who was behind the digital chaos. Some blamed rival nations. Others pointed to private companies with too much power. As they talked, both of them realized the truth. Peace had not come. It had only changed its face. And somewhere in the dark corners of the net, unseen enemies were already preparing the next move. The first real sign that the shield was not perfect came quietly, without warning or noise. A small drone, no bigger than a bird, flew into a major city and released something unseen, a cloud of tiny particles carried by the wind. Within hours, people began to get sick. Doctors didn't know why. Hospitals filled up. Panic spread. It took days for the government to admit what had happened. The attack had not come from a missile or bomber. It had walked right through the shield like it wasn't even there. Lisa Morrow was called back into active service. She had warned about this kind of threat before, but no one listened. Now she was given full access to the defense network and told to find out how it happened. Meanwhile, Daniel Holt was already working on his own. He had been watching reports closely, and when he saw the pattern of how the sickness spread, he knew it was not random. Someone had tested a new kind of weapon, one that did not fly, but moved with the air. He dug into the shield's code, late into the night. That was when he found it, a hidden subroutine buried deep inside the system. It looked like a patch, something meant to fix a problem, but it did something else entirely. It allowed certain small objects to pass through, the shield unnoticed. Someone had placed it there on purpose. Daniel felt his stomach twist. He had built the shield to stop war, but someone had changed it. Someone had made it weaker, and they had done it without anyone knowing. He sent an encrypted message to Lisa. Within hours, she arrived at his door, tired and serious. "I've seen the reports," she said. This was not an accident. They sat down and shared what they had found. Lisa showed him data from other strange events. Power grids failing, water supplies being poisoned, riots sparked by fake videos. All of it pointed to one thing. The world was under attack, but not in the way people expected. The shield stopped missiles, Lisa said, but it didn't stop fear. Daniel nodded. He had thought peace could be built with machines. Now he saw the truth. Peace was not just about stopping bombs. It was about trust, control, and who held the keys to the future, and someone else had taken those keys. Daniel and Lisa worked fast. They knew someone had changed the shield, but they didn't know who or why. The hidden code was smart, buried deep, hard to trace. Whoever put it there knew what they were doing. Lisa used her security access to dig into defense logs. She found strange patterns, old files that had been rewritten, system checks that never happened, and a list of people who had accessed the shield's core in the last 6 months. One name stood out: Jason Brooks. He was not a soldier or a scientist. He was a businessman, rich, smart, and always on TV. He ran a tech company called Virion Systems. On the outside, they built drones for farmers and delivery bots for stores, but behind closed doors, they had contracts with the government for secret projects. Daniel remembered seeing Jason speak at a science event a few years back. Jason had argued that war kept the world balanced. "Too much peace," he had said once, "can make people weak." Daniel hadn't thought much of it then. Now those words felt like a warning. Lisa pulled up more files. Virion had been working on its own defense system, one that could be sold to countries willing to pay. If the shield was perfect, no one would need another system. But if the shield had flaws, countries might look for something new. He didn't want to stop war, Lisa said. He wanted to control it. Daniel didn't answer right away. He was looking at a message he had just received. It was from an unknown sender. All it said was, "You're close. Don't trust anyone." They needed proof. So they went to meet someone, a former engineer from Virion named Kyle Adams. He had quit months ago and gone quiet, but before he left, he had sent a friend a short video. In it, he looked nervous and whispered, "They're changing the shield. If they finish, we won't be safe anymore." Kyle agreed to meet them in a small town far from the city. They arrived late at night. He was waiting in a dimly lit garage. "I helped build the patch," Kyle said, voice shaking. "But I didn't know what it was really for." Jason told us. It was just a test. But it wasn't. It was a backdoor. Someone can shut off the shield anytime they want. Daniel felt cold. The world thought it was safe. But the truth was worse than anyone imagined, and Jason Brooks was still out there. Daniel and Lisa knew they couldn't wait any longer. Jason Brooks had built a backdoor into the shield, a way to shut it down whenever he wanted. If he was planning something, the world could be in danger. Kyle Adams gave them a data chip before they left. It held proof, logs, messages, and code that showed how Virion systems had changed the shield without permission. But getting this information to the public would not be easy. The government had trusted Jason. Many leaders owed him favors. Some even believed he was right, that peace had made the world weaker. "We need to go straight to the press," Lisa said as they drove away. "No," Daniel replied. "If we do that and get caught, everything gets buried. We need more. Something they can't ignore." They decided to go deeper. They needed someone inside Virion who still had access, someone who could show the world what was really happening. They found her, Emily Cruz. She was one of the top programmers at Virion. Kyle had worked with her before he quit. She didn't know about the back door, but she knew things weren't right. Meeting her was risky. Virion had eyes everywhere. So they arranged a quiet meeting in a small coffee shop far from the city. When Emily arrived, she looked nervous but ready. "I've seen strange things," she said. "Files I wasn't supposed to see. Commands sent to the shield that no one asked for." Daniel leaned in. "Can you help us prove that Jason is behind it?" Emily hesitated. She had a family, a life. Going against Virion meant losing everything. But then she thought about the people who had gotten sick, the fear spreading across the world, and the lies told to keep everyone calm. "Yes," she said finally, "but we have to be smart." That night they worked together. Emily used her access to copy secret files. Hidden inside them were orders, direct commands sent to the shield system. Timestamps matched the recent attacks. Jason wasn't just testing his control. He was preparing for something bigger. Just as they finished downloading the last file, the lights in the building flickered. Then the door burst open. A group of men in dark uniforms stormed in. They weren't police. They didn't wear badges. One of them stepped forward. "You should have stayed out of this," he said. Emily tried to hide the drive, but it was too late. Someone had betrayed them. And now, they were all in danger. The room filled with noise. Boots on the floor, shouted orders, the sound of fear. Daniel, Lisa, and Emily had only seconds to react. One of them had been followed. Someone had told Virion what they were doing. "Don't move," one of the men shouted. But they did move. Lisa grabbed a chair and swung it hard into the nearest attacker. Daniel pulled Emily toward the back door. Bullets cracked through the air, hitting walls, breaking glass. Smoke began to fill the room. They ran outside into the cold night. The street was empty. Their car was parked 2 blocks away. They sprinted through the dark, hearing shouts behind them. They reached the car and jumped inside. Daniel started the engine. Tires screeched as they sped off. "We have to get out of the city," Lisa said, catching her breath. Emily held the drive tight in her hand. "They'll come after us," she whispered. "They know we have the truth." Daniel drove, fast through quiet streets. They needed help, real help, not just from the press. They needed someone powerful enough to protect them. They decided to go to Senator Graham. He had always questioned the shield. He didn't trust Jason Brooks. If anyone could keep them safe, it was him. Reaching him wasn't easy. His office was watched. His phone was likely tapped. So they sent a message through an old friend, a retired soldier named Frank who owed Lisa a favor. After hours of hiding and moving between safe houses, they finally met with the senator in a small private meeting room. He listened carefully as they explained everything: the back door, the attacks, the plan to shut down the shield. At first, he didn't speak. Then he sighed. "I believe you," he said. "But this isn't just about proof. It's about power. Jason has friends in high places. If we do this wrong, we lose everything." Lisa leaned forward. "If we do nothing, he wins." Daniel looked at the senator. We need to act now before he makes his next move. For a long moment, the senator stared at the data drive in Emily's hand. Then he nodded. Let's make sure the world sees the truth, he said. And with that, the final plan began. The world woke up to the truth. Senator Graham made sure the files reached the right people, honest reporters, independent networks, and foreign allies. Within hours, the hidden commands, the secret messages, and the proof of Jason Brooks's plan were everywhere. People were shocked, angry. Jason tried to deny it at first. He appeared on TV, calm and smiling, saying the files were fake, that someone was trying to ruin his company. But the evidence was too strong. Experts checked the data. Other countries confirmed what had been done. Within days, Virion Systems was under investigation. Its offices were searched. Its contracts were canceled. Jason disappeared before the police could find him, but he would never be safe again. Not anywhere. With the shield exposed as flawed, the president faced a hard choice. The system still worked, but trust in it was broken. People no longer believed that peace could be guaranteed by machines alone. Daniel Holt stepped forward. He spoke to the world not as a hero, but as someone who had learned a painful lesson. We thought we could end war, he said. But all we did was change how it was fought. Real peace doesn't come from weapons or shields. It comes from people choosing to build, not destroy. Lisa Morrow stayed in public service, helping rewrite laws about technology and warfare. She made sure that no single person or company could ever control something so powerful again. Emily Cruz went into hiding for a while, then started her own small tech group, one that worked only for good causes. As time passed, the shield remained, but it was no longer seen as perfect. Nations kept it as a defense tool, but they also knew it could not protect them from lies, fear, or greed. And slowly, the world began to change. Not because of machines, but because people remembered what happened. No generation will ever forget the day humans completely ended dangerous warfare. Not because it was easy, but because they learned that peace must always be chosen, again and again.